Monogamy can be natural, but in most instances, it's probably not the case. The reasons why is like, what is your reason for wanting to be sexually exclusive with an individual? If that's mostly just based in tradition, then chances are you're fucking up. Just being honest with you. If the only reason you want to be exclusive with an individual is to lock them down, that's not necessarily a good reason. I've heard people say, when you engage in a fuck buddy situation or a friends with benefits situation, that the moment that you start to begin to feel sexual jealousy, that's when you either need to cut it off or you need to make it a relationship. I heard Alan Roger Curry say this. Me personally, I look at a situation and say that sometimes you need to curb that desire and sometimes you make concessions for it. But the truth is this, you know, monogamy and the desire to be exclusive can have a range. The choice of being exclusive can have a range of motivations. Near the top of that list needs to be the fact that you're actually sexually satisfied by this individual. Understand what I'm saying? You need to look at the sexual experiences that you desire to have, the level of satisfaction that you would be satisfied with in order to not feel the need for other people, the variety of acts, the variety of ways that you can orgasm, the variety of experiences, ways that a person makes you feel sexually. And once you have all, if not, or at least a majority of those things to where you don't feel like you're missing out on something by being exclusive with an individual, then you're at a place where if you decide to be sexually exclusive with them, it's not going to be something that is causing you to grow resentment or to feel like the person owes you something or that you owe them something. Even if that person were to step out on you without your knowledge, it wouldn't be as bad as, let's say, one way that a lot of men become exclusive with women is, let's say that a woman gives the impression that she's not that sexual. This is something that happens a lot. Happens a lot. This is what leads to a lot of Madonna whore complexes and cheating on both sides. What happens is a woman may give the impression that she is more of a traditional type of woman, that she's not interested in casual sex, and that that's not how she moves. That's not how she gets down. And when a man takes a woman's word for that, and he gives her credit for not being that sexual by rewarding her with exclusivity in order to have access to her sexually on a more consistent basis, what happens is he's really giving her a pass. He's giving her a pass on a trust level, saying that, okay, cool, if I give you this level of commitment, if I give you this level of emotional stability and commitment, that by giving you this, that you will trade sexual access to me and that you will get nastier and that you will get more downright dirty and do the things that I like. Now, when a woman doesn't do these things, then what's going on is instead of it being a situation where a man is just, he's satisfied being sexually exclusive with this woman, you're trading monogamy, right? It's a trade. It's saying, okay, cool. I want to fuck other people. I want you to fuck me on a different level. But because you're not fucking me on that level, in order for me to feel like I'm not being cheated, I need you to be exclusive to me. And that's something that it can work like that sometimes. I'm sure guys who have been in fuck buddy and friends with benefit situation, DOMs, you dealt with women where from the very beginning you had a high level of sexual chemistry and compatibility, both in the quantity and quality. And because of the context of the situation, you didn't feel threatened by her having sex with other men because she was doing that and you were aware and conscious of it before you came into the situation. Now, you may have decided that you didn't want to be emotionally attached to that woman, or you may have still developed some type of feelings or some type of positive feelings towards this individual. And if you got to a place with this individual where they no longer desired to sleep with other people because they were satisfied with you, then you wouldn't judge them as bad. It would be one of those things to where you would both be mutually satisfied with the situation. But when you start a situation from the perspective and the point of view of, because she's not fully sexual with me, then in order for me to feel comfortable being emotionally invested in her, she needs to not be sexual with anyone else. Now, where this goes wrong is social programming, in that a lot of the times when a woman sees you as relationship material, when a woman sees you as the full package, she may, as a defense mechanism to protect herself, she may limit how much of her sexuality she lets seep out, how much of her sexual energy she lets go to you. She will limit that in order to control it, because once a woman lets a certain level of her sexual energy go and she gets fully sexually submissive, what happens in a lot of those instances is it unlocks a certain level of femininity within her. This often happens like when a woman has her first vaginal orgasm, or a woman has her first different types of orgasms or experiences that really just take her to another level. A certain level of emotionality is unlocked. A certain level of feminine energy is unlocked. Now, if guidance is added to that good dick, then what happens is a woman becomes more submissive with you overall. If you have nothing to teach that woman, then she'll just become crazy, and you don't have a good program, then she's going to become crazy with you. She don't want to get with your program. She's just going to start acting out, or she'll just cut you off because the pleasure is too overwhelming for the status of relationship that you have. But when we're talking about natural monogamy, there's a moral aspect to monogamy. There's also safeguarding yourself from overstimulation, which is a good reason people should think about that some more. There's the satisfaction aspect of it, as in, I'm attracted to this individual. I don't feel like I need more than that to be satisfied. We're physically compatible to where I don't feel like I need more than that to be satisfied. And the quantity and quality and types of sex that we have is enough variety for me to be mentally and sexually stimulated in a way where I don't need something outside of that. That is natural monogamy. And that's something that can happen in a one-sided manner. It is. I've had plenty of submissives as a dominant, where I would be a polydom for subs, and a lot of times a sub can't have more than one dom at a time, so those women would choose on their own, or their own free will, that they only wanted to sleep with me. Now, that became my preferred style of dealing with women, but at the same time, something to understand is that as a man, you need to know what you want sexually, know the things that you desire, and stop giving women passes and getting into full-on relationships with women who do not meet your sexual needs. Stop committing to a woman who doesn't meet your sexual needs because she gives you the impression that she's not that sexual. Because she's going to have to maintain that view of not being that sexual, because if she expresses that, she fears that you're going to see her differently, right? That's the context of your relationship. For her to become more sexual, to her would be to void the agreement. If she, expresses, what, I've been this sexual all along, I've really been with this many guys, this is really what I like, then it would void the arrangement. You would feel cheated. That's a lot of what cheated is. It's where you give the price for something. Someone tells you what they want to get what you want from them. You provide what it is that they want, and then you find out that they're not giving you all that they could be giving you when you're giving them a discounted price. And that's really what it is. It's like if you're an artist and you selling your artwork, and you say this is what my price is, and the individual tells you this is all I have, but because of your emotional connection and your knowledge of what you believe that they have as far as their assets, you say, okay, cool, I'm going to let you pay just this much for it because I don't think you have it, and because you're giving me the impression that you don't. So I'm going to let you get it for this price, but you're taking a loss. And when you take that loss, if you find out that that person has more money than they're giving the impression that they do, then now you feel cheated because you gave them a discount. This is just part of past theory. Past theory is something that limits sexual integration. Giving a woman a pass is, it's contrary to the biology first approach. When you give a woman a pass and she says, I'm not that sexual, the biology first approach is about tapping into that fully sexual side before the emotional investment is made. That way you can pace out the emotional investment, and you're not trading love for sex as a man, and as a woman, you're not trading sex for love. And when you understand this dynamic, monogamy is something that can become more natural, but it's also something that isn't done by obligation. Now, if you're already prematurely integrated and you're in a situation with somebody, then sometimes it's best for you not to, when you're in that process of transitioning and growing your sexual energy, sometimes it's best not to sleep around, because you never know who's going to be the one to tap into it. And sometimes it's just a matter of timing, not even a matter of who the person is. And overstimulation is something that can take a person to a place where the person who you have the highest emotional investment in is not going to be the person who pleases you the most. Now, for a man, this isn't as bad, but overstimulation can happen with men as well. But with women, it's something that can happen is where often a higher level of pleasure and a higher level of masculinity, it precedes a shift in authority. It precedes a shift in who is really her dominant. So for a lot of women, it's best not to sleep with multiple men at one time. You know, I don't judge women for their body counts, for the amount of men that they've slept with in their lifetime, but I do advise that it's best not to sleep with multiple men at once. Because if you're trying to get good dick and guidance, you can only get good dick and guidance from really one man, unless it's in different areas of your life and it's compartmentalized. Because if you're dealing with two DOMs, then at some point in time, their programs are going to conflict with one another. And when their programs conflict with another, you have to choose, or you're going to be in constant confusion. And if that's not the case, then you're going to have a Dom and you're going to have a sub. And a woman can have a Dom and a sub, or a beta male. That beta male may be a beta male orbiter or a beta male provider. And in these particular instances, often what happens is the beta male provider will be the primary partner, because his emotional investment is, and his lack of emotional discipline is what gives him the freedom to say that because she's not that open with me, I wanted to part ways with my resources in order to keep access to her sexually. And then with the dominant man, with the masculine man, the alpha male, usually the social program will cause her to believe that he's not really relationship material, so she'll just sleep with him on the side. But when a woman has that dominant, then what's really the purpose and the goal of having a beta male? Well, sometimes what can happen in those instances is that a woman will get that ego gratification. Because like I usually say, a Dom takes the role of being the primary receiver of ego gratification and the secondary receiver of pleasure. So let's say a woman has a beta male who is just happy to be around her, happy to have her presence, happy to get a little sniff or whiff of pussy, a hand job, foot job, whatever it is. And maybe he just wants to eat some pussy and he'll spend some money on her to do it. Now, as a Dom, he should be taking advantage of the resources that she's gaining from beta males. Let's say you have a beautiful woman and a man is offering to do photo shoots for her. Then you take couples photo shoots together. Let's say a man is offering to spend money on her for trips and with no guarantee of getting any kind of sex. You take advantage of that man. If she's willing to take advantage of it and use her sex appeal to take advantage of another man as a Dom, you should be in the know, and then you go take those trips together. So it's one of those things to where if a man is going to simp and your woman's going to allow that energy around her, then you need to benefit from it in some type of way. But when we're talking about the whole Dom sub dynamic, sometimes a woman just wants that ego boost of feeling like her pussy in her head is the best thing since sliced bread. And as a Dom, if you train that woman up, you can coach her to the point where she can please you pretty well. But at the same time, you may not have that same reaction to it as a man who is thirsting and starving and starving and working and striving just to get a little piece of it. So he's probably going to come a lot faster. He's probably going to, and a lot of guys think, oh, if he's not fast, it's bad. For some women, that's an ego boost for him. You know what I mean? Or he's going to be willing to beg for it, like just begging to get in the pussy. That's an ego boost for a woman. And when a woman experiences that too much, a woman can become addicted to that. And that also exacerbates a gentleman gigolo complex, because a woman will want that gentleman who's willing to spend the money on her and work for the pussy. But she also wants that gigolo who can get it for free, who she's willing to spend her own money and that other man's money on. So it's just different things to understand. As a man, you have to be balanced. But when we're looking at monogamy, natural monogamy versus unnatural monogamy, these are just some factors that play a part, and overstimulation and how these different things can go with it.